Most of our devices today can display millions of colors, but is that even possible from the color wheel? In this video, we'll take a look at tints, shades and tones, and how they can be used to make up the millions of colors we see today. The introduction of black, white and gray onto a hue like red can affect its temperature. By adding the neutral colors, you can either lighten and darken the hue. That in turn gives you the ability to reproduce the millions of colors you see in your devices today. Adding black to the top row gives you a darker hue, while adding white to the middle row lightens the hue. Gray can be introduced if you want a less saturated hue or complementing another hue, which I'll get to that in the following slides. But first, where do these colors reside in your tools palette? Here, we see the familiar color picker dialog box in most Adobe tools. Double-click onto the foreground and the background color box and you'll see the color picker. By default, you'll see smooth gradients in the color picker. Click on the Only Web Colors checkbox and the smooth gradient changes into patches of colors. The hues are always on the top right-hand corner. Colors here are pure and not tainted with any neutral colors. They usually have the strongest color values in the color wheel. And tints are created when white is added to hue. Notice how the hue gets lightened as it progresses to the left. Just like tints, shades can be reproduced by adding black, and notice how the hue gets darkened as it flows down south. You get tones if gray is mixed with hue. See how it neutralizes or desaturates the hue as it progresses to the right. This is how you get retro colors. These are the areas in the color palette to select if you want to apply retro colors to your design. Of course, it will work with any other colors besides red. So why are we talking about retro colors and what's cool about it? Remember how the different color schemes can help you mix colors that complement each other. Retro colors works well with any colors on the color wheel. That's right. We know for a fact that the hues are colors with the strongest value, just like what you see here. The contrast between the red, green and blue is like a bunch of kids screaming and yelling at you. But it all changes when you distract them by giving them a box of chocolates. In this case, we are talking about adding gray to the hues. Immediately, you'll notice less contrast between each hue. Less contrast means it's easier to match, and adding white would further remove more contrast between the hues. Here we're talking about tints, and to a point it looks like pastel colors. There are two rows of hues. After adding gray, white or black to the second row, you'd get retro colors. Looking at the arrangement, it's clear there are less contrast between the hues, and it's clear that they look far more pleasing to the eyes. However, hues can be an advantage if your intent is to draw attention. Walk into a toy store and you'll likely be bombarded with a rainbow of colors. But it works here. Bright, saturated colors draw attention. At least this is what toy manufacturers want. It's quite universal as well, even for an adult. I would be like, whoa, colorful, bright toys, want, need, buy. On the other hand, retro colors attract a different target audience. Walk into a premium goods store and you'll likely find the use of retro colors. Here, the store carries premium handbags. I'm pretty sure most kids would still prefer the colors seen in the toy store. These icons certainly look very pleasing when they're together. Notice how the colors play off each other and they seem to look like a family. Here is another example of icons using a darker set of retro colors. There's practically no strong contrast when placed together. Retro colors can be applied to if your intent is to create a set of family icons. They can look colorfully consistent.